call is now being recorded.
Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for tuning in to the Nezzy's Place podcast. I am your host, Vanez Davis, and we have a good show for you this evening. So please take a moment and share the link, and I really would appreciate that. I am so super excited that I reconnected with my next guest, OMG. After hearing his story, I was drawn to the subject, and I felt this right here, this story, had to be part of the Bounce Back series. So I am going to introduce to you Jason Benefield. Jason A. Benefield, the transformer from pain to promise to purpose. Founder of JAB Unlimited, creator of Life Essentials, an inspirational program that helps individuals understand the truth of who they are, why healing past hurts to evolve to a greater self. Welcome to the show, Jason.
Thank you very much, Vanessa. I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Yes, I'm so excited. I know that we have been trying to get together to do our show, and I know this show is going to be phenomenal. I just know it is. So I know it is because you have a lot to share. And one of the things that I really want to express is, you know, a lot of times it's always the women who are so candid and so open to disclose their issues, their hurts, their pain, to move forward in their lives. So I would like to talk to you a little bit about, you know, why do you feel that it's so important that you do this now in your life? And as a man, you know, why did you feel it's so important to take it so seriously?
Yeah, thank you. Well, first of all, it's just from what I understand and from what I know, that a lot of pain happens because there isn't any release, and it stays inside, and then it becomes actions like anger and just doing things that are just not kind. Okay, like that phrase, hurt people hurt people. You know, and I believe that I stopped wanting to be hurt, and then I stopped wanting to hurt. And once I began to notice that and understand that, that's when after a friend of mine 2 years ago said to me that I was angry, and I couldn't understand that. You know, I never thought I was angry. I always thought I was a happy-go-lucky person, smiling, fun to be around. But when I heard that, I had to take heed to it because it kept on ringing in my ear that I was still angry, and that's when I decided to take this journey, and that's why I believe it's important to take the journey, because I believe that a lot of us are holding things back from our past and not releasing it and not allowing it to heal, and that is, I think, is really important to be able to heal from your hurt.
Yes, it is. It is very, very important, and I hear exactly what you're saying, and I commend you for that, for even touching on that subject. So let's flip-flop a little bit. Let's go back a little ways. So how was all this identified? I know you say you were being angry. If you don't mind just kind of sharing a little bit about, and be a little transparent about what kind of things was going on in your life and was that helped you to really understand exactly where you needed to pinpoint.
That's a very good question. And to start off that foundation, after I was told that I was angry, and my wife now, we were dating at the time when I first initially approached her with that. I was letting her know. Somebody told me that I was still angry, and I don't understand why they would say that. And during that process of us discussing the purpose and the reason for my anger, I started to realize that I was still functioning from a hurt child as an adult, which I thought was very interesting. And back in my childhood, you know, I have great parents, you know, and for what they did. But I was I was hurt as a child, just due to the fact of a sickness that I didn't have, sickness that I had, excuse me, that they didn't understand that it was a sickness and not me acting out. And because of both of our lack of understanding of what was going on, there were actions that were done in that process that led to me acting out, punching out windows, kicking in walls. I even remember putting my fist through my father's car because I was so mad because I couldn't do something that I wanted to do. You know, and it's just not being able to express the pain that I was going through, and because it was not only just neglected by me, but when I tried to express that I was in pain, it was also neglected by others. And so that didn't help either. And so because I was taking on their reaction to my pain after a while, people don't want to hear about it. People don't want to try to help me through it. So then fine. I have to hold on to it and just act like it's not there. And that was wrong. I was hurting myself, and it showed it showed up in many different ways in my life, even in my relationships, and it really blew up in my previous marriage, where it was really time for me to go because I was trying to stay in a situation where I was being hurt, and because I got used to being in pain so much that I was so numb that I stayed in a situation where there was more pain added on top. And it erupted. My body could not sustain it anymore. And I had to move from that place, and I had to be in a position where I had to be set free.
Wow, that is really deep, because I know for myself that I know that there are men who walk around with masks on. And like you said,
Yes.
you just kind of walk around day to day, oh, nothing's wrong, I'm fine, and have all this pain inside from the past relationships or past
Yes.
the way our parents, anything that happened in our past. And so I know for some men, they walk around with this tank, and all of a sudden it just like explodes. And it's good that you recognized that and you were able to go through the process of healing. So tell me, what kind of things did you do to heal, to find your place of freedom? What did you do?
Well, once I was able to find out and pinpoint what it was that I was holding on to, I was holding on to anger, as far as being abandoned, not being understood. I was holding on to not being protected. I was holding on to just outright, flat out, not being acknowledged. And so with that, I learned to, first of all, forgive. I had to definitely forgive. That was something that was new to me, because I thought forgiving was to tell that other person that I forgive you. I thought forgiving was to basically wait for the person to say that they forgive me, or ask for their forgiveness, excuse me. But that wasn't the case. Forgiveness was, in this case here, was forgiving myself for what happened, because I didn't protect myself. And a lot of times, and this is something that I've learned, is that like us men, we hold stuff back because we're told not to express how we feel. We're told not to express that we're hurting. We're told not to express and to release any pain that we're holding on to. And that causes a lot of health problems, because that's energy that we're holding on to and that we're not able to release. And we don't even realize that we're living a slow death because we're holding on to that energy that is not serving us. And so I had to learn how to forgive myself for holding on to that energy that no longer serves me. I had to learn to forgive forgive my parents because they were doing what they knew to do. And then I had to get a new story about my life and how my life should unfold and how it should be and what took place. Because, you know, that's just one of the things that I'll go into that deeper later, because I believe that's really important, is to start a new story about yourself, because that story that was happening before, yeah, it happened, but then there's some things that may have been added on for effect. You know, it's like a good movie is not a good movie without a good story, and so if you don't add something to it, then it's going to be just like what people may consider a blah one, right? So then I noticed that when I tell my story, you know, I may have added on some things or I may have put some more emphasis on it. So I had to change that to dial it back to what it really was. It was just a situation that neither of us were prepared for, and we did the best that we could, but now we're able to heal from it. And so I had to not only forgive, I had to change my story, and then I also had to face my pain. I had to go into a meditative state. I had to really bring that pain up that that was hurting, and then I had to talk to that pain and let that pain know that what I want now for my life right now is I want love, I want joy, I want peace, you know, and then not only just that, but also let the pain know I acknowledge you now. I see that you are there, you know, and now you're free. Now you can go, you know, and now you're ready to heal. Now we're ready to be healed. Now I'm ready to be healed. Let's go ahead. Let's go through that healing process, because now I'm going to replace you with something that is the truth about who I am, and that is love, peace, and joy.
Yes. You know, you did mention something. You have to identify the pain, identify where it came from, and that you have to have the strength and not be fearful to go back to that dark place, because that's where it starts, and that's where you build upon to, you know, where you know who do you have to forgive, who do you have to confront, who do you have to have a crucial conversation with, you know. So you talked a little bit about forgiveness. So how did you go through that process of forgiving people? What did you do? Did you go to each person, you know, individually? How did you actually work out your forgiveness plan, if you will?
Well, at first, when forgiving, that first came up for me through my wife. What I did at first, without really any instruction, was that I had wrote letters to people asking them to forgive me because I was in a situation that I should not have remained in, i.e., that situation is my previous marriage. I should not have been in that situation, which erupted into all of this discourse that took place within the family. And so I sent out letters. That was because I didn't have the full understanding. And just to let you know, I only got one response back from those letters that I sent out. Matter of fact, I got one response back from that letter, and which is fine. You know, that's just where everybody else was at that time and place. That's cool. But then I also learned that, but I also read some additional books about forgiving, and then that's when it came up to me writing out what took place, forgiving that person for the actions at that initial time, and then seeing them differently because, you know, they didn't know what was going on at that time, or, you know, I can't hold them responsible. See, and one thing that I remember hearing from Johnny Coleman. Johnny Coleman was this female pastor in Chicago. One of the things that she said was, she says, I have to forgive you. I have to release you, because if I don't release you, I'm going to still keep carrying you around with me.
Wow.
And I believe through that process, when I began to release that person from what took place, I released them from me, which then let go of the baggage that I was carrying around. And so then I was able to be more open for the healing process.
Wow, forgiveness is, you got to start with forgiving yourself first, like you said, and going back to people and asking them for forgiveness, it releases you.
Mm-hmm.
So I know you felt a sense of relief and refreshing, even if only one person responded out of 10 letters. I'm just using that number.
Mm-hmm.
But if only one person responded, at least you released it and you let it go. Because I don't know if you heard, I did a series last week about, how I had to write a letter to someone in a toxic relationship where I had to forgive her and let her go. And I have no idea if she read it, but you know what? It made me free. So, that is so important. And do you think a lot of men don't address this issue of forgiveness and because they are fearful? Do you think some men are fearful of kind of going back down this road?
Yeah. Again, I feel like that we're not taught to confront and to even rehash things that have happened. We're taught to hold it in or to let it go, to forget about it, sweep it under the rug, move on, and that's more damaging than anything. And so then when you're not able to confront and then to realize that you have to forgive to release it and let it go, so then what happens is, it becomes, like I said, energy that you're holding on to begins to mess with the body temple in forms of sickness and in forms of diseases, and it is not allowing, and it's not even allowing the individual to be productive on this earth. Like, that's one thing that I really want to make sure that we all do is be productive. And so, I just believe that, once a man is ready to open up and not so much take responsibility, but to take acknowledgement of what took place. You see what I'm saying? If you take acknowledgement of what happened and confront that, then you're able to be free. You're able to release and let go. And that's what's important. So no, I don't think, it's unfortunate, but I believe now is the time to really, be in the forefront of wanting to release and to, really confront what's happening or what has happened.
Yeah, I agree with that because my whole platform is being emotionally healthy. And I know I talk a lot to women, but I talk to men too. Because I'm a woman, people gravitate towards me and what I have to say, but it's for anybody. I think we all need to be emotionally healed from things that happen in our lives. So that's so important. So as you have gone through this journey and you found your purpose, and I'm sure you are ready to just soar, right? So you've gone through this whole process of the enlightenment of your past and just knowing where you needed to make changes, and you have been reinventing yourself, I'm sure. So expound a little bit on your mission and your vision now that you have gone through that path, you recognize where you were and how you got through and where you are today. Talk about how Life Essentials ties into all of this, is what you've gone through.
Yeah, so thank you. So Life Essentials is just really about getting to the core of the truth of who you are, your true being. Is really about just really looking at, first of all, who you really are. What is it that you can do to be a beneficial presence on this planet? And then also, how can you become more open to the ideas, the dreams, and the goals that you have, and to be able to receive and to be in a position to receive everything that is rightfully supposed to be yours. And I believe that the process of life essentials opens up individuals for being able to manifest and to receive everything that they want in life. You know, if you want a person in your life, if you want a business, if you want a better job, if you want to make more money, if you want children, whatever it is, it's all about what can I do to heal myself, or what can I do to heal in order for me to be more open. And I believe that's what Life Essentials generally is.
That's awesome. So do you go around and speak about that program, or do you have speaking engagements? What do you do?
Yeah, so I have been, right now, I'm on a platform where I'm online on my Facebook page when I'm doing videos or putting up posts, but I have spoken at youth events. Life Essentials really started from that, from a youth event in Niagara Falls by a woman named Samika Sullivan. And she was very instrumental, and she loved what I had to say and wanted me to share it. And I've done multiple events in Niagara Falls, New York, from just regular youth events to a few bullying events, just helping children get through bullying. And also I've even spoke at a number of adult events, and even at my alma mater, Villa Maria College. I've spoken there as well, just to help people open their minds to, who they are and how important education is. And so, yeah, and I'm looking to do more. I'm so open and available and ready to get back out there and to share this message to everyone.
Well, you are inspirational, and you are quite motivational, because I have seen some of your videos, and I'm like, yeah, go, Jason. So you are in the process of working on a book project. I know that we briefly talked about that. Peace is Essential. I would love to hear a little bit more about your book. So tell us something about that.
Okay, so my book is the very, very first book is the foundation book. It's called Peace is Essential to Life, or in Life, excuse me. Peace is Essential in Life, The Journey to Evolving Consciousness. And this book is the foundation book. This basically starts off where I began how I got the outline for Life Essentials. Also, it discussed about being a commodity, which I believe is important. And I'm sure people on the line are like, why do I have to be a commodity? I thought that's about, things for trade and money. Exactly. I mean, that is the definition, or that's a few examples of that word commodity. But I looked at the definition. The definition said someone or something of usefulness and of value. I also add the word importance. Okay. And so how come we can't add value to ourselves? How come we can't see ourselves as important? How come we can't see ourselves as being useful? How come we can't see ourselves as what? Being a commodity, right? And so in talking about that, and in discussing about the commodity, I broke commodity down into three parts. COM, which is the prefix, and that means all together. And also with that, I also put down communication, because I believe, and if you realize in the beginning, I mentioned about how I had to sit down and I had to meditate to be able to confront the pain that I was feeling, right? And so in the communication process is the time where you are open, and that you're meditating, and that you're now beginning to communicate within. All right, you communicate with spirit. All right, and then when communicating with spirit, then we go to the next part of MOD, M-O-D, right? That's the second three letters of the word commodity. and that's the root word. And that is the part where I say this is the modification part, because now after we have already looked at communicating, we got the answers because we've released and opened ourselves to want to understand. We are now modifying. So now we're taking those very steps, or we're moving in that direction to transform, and then we become the entity, or the ITY, which is the suffix, okay, and that is to become. All right, that's the title of the suffix, to become, or the meaning. And so now we're the entity. Now, because we've communicated, we've made the transformation, and now we are the change that we want to see. We are evolving into our greater life. We're evolving into the greater us, or the greater you, the greater me. And so being a commodity, I believe, is just extremely important. And then also just knowing that you can't allow fear to hinder you from moving, from actually moving through that step of being a commodity. And then also knowing that you're a leader. You know, everyone is a leader. Everyone has purpose. I just stated that. Everybody has purpose. Everybody is useful. Everybody has value. So now, since you know that, now you can be the leader that you're supposed to be. And then you're able to take those ideas and those dreams, and you're able to move forward with those dreams and ideas. And that's just a few things that's what's in the book. I know I spent a lot on commodity, but I'm very passionate about that part of it, because I really want individuals to really understand the importance of who they are.
And that's important. That's important. You have to be passionate about what you're doing, because it helps you to communicate the purpose much better. So, I do understand what you're saying about peace. God is our peace, and especially, when you're going through trying to find, when you're walking in your purpose and you know what you're supposed to be doing, the peace that you have keeps you grounded, and it also keeps all the noise out of, one, the naysayers, the negative people, and all the people that can cloud your vision and your dreams. So peace is essential, because you have to stay grounded in order to stay focused on the big picture so that you can accomplish your goals. So that in itself is awesome, because we all need to have peace. If we didn't have peace, we'd be walking around looking crazy.
Gary R. Renard said that in order to have outer peace, you must first have inner peace. Mm-hmm. And I always thought that was very important, to first have inner peace. And that's one of the things that I really want to make sure that individuals latch on to when they not only read the books, but then they also have the opportunity to, hear me speak.
Yeah, so you also mentioned very quickly about your what you do with schools regarding bullying. I'm so interested in hearing some of the things you have done to, encourage students to not bully and to speak up. I'm definitely interested in what you are doing, because that is remarkable. So tell me a little about what that's all about.
Sure. So basically, what that's about is I was helping young people understand about the truth of what bullying, or how bullying is looked at, because there are so many children out there that are hurt, and so because they are hurt, they don't know how to deal with that hurt. They don't know how to express that hurt. I just remember, like, when I was explaining to them about me being bullied when I was younger, and I showed them a picture of me being younger, and they was like, "Yeah, right, that's not you. You've never been bullied. You don't look like that. You ain't never looked like that. When they look at me now, and I say, yeah, that was me. I told them an 8th grade picture of myself. I said, that was me. And yes, I was. I was bullied. But I told them that, even though I still stood tall. In the end, I'm still here. And I wanted to make sure I expressed that to the children because a lot of them don't know how to handle that type of stuff. And that it comes from suicide or even acting out. And then also like the shootings, and I believe, I have to give the applause. Oh, I really applaud these children over this past weekend in DC and other areas.
Yes.
That just was out there just promoting no violence, no more gun violence, and no more guns, period, actually, and I was really applauding them because they said it's time for us to stand up and get a resolution because we just can't wait for nobody else to do it. It's way too many children getting killed by guns out here. And then it goes, and I think, I remember hearing one of the young ladies say that it was more than just the school shootings, but it was also the shootings on the street that they also wanted to end also. And I thought that was so great that they acknowledged all shootings,
Yes.
also.
That was powerful. Yes, that was powerful. And I hope that it made a great impact for the politicians and all the Congress and everyone who has to make a change and move everything forward because it's so important.
It is. It is most definitely important. And so, it's definitely important because when I was teaching them coping skills, how to handle it, how to deal with it, and then also the mindset. I mean, that's number one importance. If we don't have the mindset to handle and to, to think about things on a different level, we're only going to react on a mindset where it's just sporadic and it's just all willy-nilly. There's no focus. There's no continuity. And so there will also have to be a different mindset that had to be imparted in order for them to be more critical thinkers in situations. And then also what also would help too is that parents would also be open to talk to their children more nowadays, to be able to dialogue with them. So then that way they're able to get things off of their chest, and then they're also to be able to give them either constructive ways and or find ways to be able to better help them, to be able to help the children because it's unfortunate, but most children are looked at to be powerless beings when they're really more powerful than ever. We already saw that display. But exactly. I believe that if they are shown to be more powerful and to be able to get more of a answer or a resolution, then it's going to be more talking and less reacting. It's going to be more thinking and less, just doing something just because, out of anger and out of hurt,
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
That's true too, and like you said, touching on the communication factor, I think also that some of the kids just need to put the phones down, and even the parents need to take the phones away because the dialogue does need to increase, so that kids can be, feel more comfortable to open up about what's going on instead of going straight to Facebook and venting and posting these negative posts that cause more problems, and sometimes you don't find anything out after the fact, and then you go and search the Facebook page and you see all this, all the graphic stuff that's on there that kind of tells a lot about the child, so sometimes social media can be a negative part. It can be positive, but if they don't communicate and that's the way they're venting, then that's a problem too. So parents need to really pay attention to all that too. So, Jason, you have shared so much. And before we even leave the show, I am going to ask you to leave us with a couple of things, but I do want to tell you that I appreciate you taking some time with us today and just sharing your life, your story, and insight on how you have gone through some of the things you've gone through and how you came free of your past. So you've shared some insightful and extremely powerful information. And I know there are probably men out there who skate through life and in a fog glass. So I'm hoping that what you shared today will give a glimpse on what they can do to be free moving forward. So before we get out of here, I would like for you to give us at least 3 or 4 steps real quickly on the most important thing a man should do to bounce back in life.
Okay, so the 3 most important things I believe a man should do to bounce back in life is, first of all, know that it's okay. First, I think that's what I will really want. Not I think, but I know. I want to let any man know that it is okay. That's first thing. And know that it's okay for you to open up. Know that it's okay for you to confront, and know that it's okay for you to release.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, those are the 3 parts. Know that it's okay for you to acknowledge that you have pain,
Mm-hmm.
and confront the pain, and then to be okay to release the pain, and then I'm gonna add a 4th one, to forgive. Forgive yourself first and foremost, and then release that person, and forgive that person and release them.
That's right, because forgiveness is not for them, it's for you, right?
Indeed, it is definitely for you. All
That's
forgiveness
right.
is self-forgiveness.
That's right. Well, Jason, I want to make sure that you leave your contact information. So if someone wants to get in touch with you, give us your information.
Sure. So I'm also looking into doing the coaching. So my phone number is 716-325-0008. And then also I could be found with my email, jasonabenefield@gmail.com. And then my Facebook is Jason A. Benefield Inspires. That's my Facebook page. My LinkedIn page is also Jason A. Benefield Inspires. My Twitter is JAB_motivates. And then I got a lot more. I got a lot of stuff.
Okay.
But I'm everywhere.
That's okay, because we're gonna put all your contact information on the podcast note. So don't worry about it, and I'll make sure everything is listed. So if anyone wants to get in contact with you, you'll definitely be able to look at the podcast notes and get in touch with Jason. So, in wrapping up, thank you so much, Jason, for being a part of the Nezzy's Place podcast. I have enjoyed this conversation with you this evening, and I pray that someone is listening and will be touched by your story. Well, thanks again. Well, if you are interested in being a guest on the Nezzy's Place podcast, please send me a message, and I'll get in touch with you. You can also call me at 585-210-8186. And remember, bouncing back is so important because I truly believe it's significant and healthy to process and learn from our past so we can celebrate all the progress we made to heal going forward. Remember, like I always say, it's your house, your life, and your rules. Stay positive. Until next week, I am out.